Guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be introducing you guys to the palette palettes of 2022. As you guys know, I asked you for your opinions on what I should go with in December, and I've been counting all the votes. I've been going really mathematical at this actually, because when people voted like either this one or that one, or even like with 3 different ones, like I put down a 1 if somebody just voted for like one particular palette, but if somebody said either this one or that one, I gave like half a point, or I gave 1/3 of a point, depending on how many palettes. Of course, when you voted for 5 palettes, there's no point in putting that number in, but thank you guys for helping me do this. Thank you guys for helping me pick. I put the numbers down, and the palette that ended up in last place out of the 5 that I suggested was the Secret Roll palette from NYX. That one only got 2.66% of the votes. The 66 sounds ridiculous, not the fact that you guys voted for it. Because I suggested it, so I definitely think it has potential, but clearly not this year yet. Then we had the Catrice palette, like the Quattro that I was thinking about, but we all knew kind of the colder toned shades, maybe not really for this year, which you guys agreed with. That one got 5 votes in total. Then we had the Strike Pose palette from NYX in 3rd place, 5.36. I don't know how it, I put 0.33 when it was 1/3, so probably those numbers aren't 100% correct, but 5.36 votes. In 2nd place we had a palette with 19.83 votes, and in 1st place 24.79. They're not too far apart from each other, and as I was counting, it was kind of like something it was leaning towards the one, something was leaning a little bit more towards the other, but in the end definitely the winner is the Amuse Palette. And I know some of you guys are gonna hate this because you're like, Linda, it's way too cheap of a palette, focus on something else, but a lot of you guys, I guess, agree with me that like it has a nice variety of colors in it, and the pens shouldn't be too big. So hopefully this will work nicely with my pen as eyeshadows as well. And there's always something that I can incorporate in a look here. I won't be stuck with a shade that doesn't work with something, because I've got plenty to focus on. Apart from just like counting the votes, I also looked at the thumbs up that certain comments got, because I know some of you guys just thumbs up a comment instead of actually like writing your opinion. And also when I counted the thumbs up for the Urban Decay, which was the other option, the Urban Decay Shadow Box, maybe that will be my 23. You don't know. So yeah, I counted the thumbs up on the comments as well, and the Urban Decay one got 27 thumbs up, but the Amuse palette got a crazy amount of like 108 thumbs ups on the comments that were voting for it. So this one definitely is the winner this time around. I'm gonna put my laptop to the side, let the numbers go, and talk about this palette with you guys, because that's what you came here for. The Muse palette is the one that I'm going to be working on this year, and I made some swatches before filming, so I'm going to be showing some close-up shots as I'm talking about the shades in here, and I'm going to be working through this way. So we're going to have shade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we have a blush in here as well that I will be working on, or at least trying to. I haven't really used it yet, and when I show you the swatches you will maybe understand why I say try. Anyway, starting off with the eyeshadows, first of all we have this white shade right here. They're all kind of shimmery shades, so I'm definitely gonna have to like grab like more matte shades from other palettes and things to work with. So my Pandos eyeshadows will be a good accompaniment to this palette. But yeah, the white shades, it's just a nice kind of like subtle, it's not too stark of a white, and the shimmers I think help quite a bit with that. It's not too patchy, it actually looks kind of nice for a white. So that might actually work as a brow bone highlight. It will definitely work as a inner corner highlight. So I will always be able to use this one on a pretty consistent basis. The scary one in this palette is the gray right here, because it is the biggest shade in this palette, but it is also like one of the darkest shades in this palette, so this one will work quite well to kind of darken up my crease a little bit if I need to. And when I swatched it, it actually showed up a little, like it had a little bit of a brownish undertone to it, which might make it a lot more wearable because it is not like a too cool toned of a gray basically. So let's see how that is gonna end up. Then this shade right here, it's kind of like a peachy shade. It is on the like lighter, it's not like overly pigmented, but I think that works really nice. It's like a lid shade, like a summery lid shade to work with. Of course I've already hit pan on this one, so I know it works like that. It might even work as a transition shade if I'm okay with wearing a shimmery transition shade, but I've been doing that for a long time now, so I'm sure I will do that at times as well. Then the green shade I hadn't really used too much yet, and when I swatched it I had to go over it twice to get it to show up as nicely as I wanted to. Now I don't know whether that was because of like there kind of is that overlay of glitter on top of it, and when you get through that you get to the actual shades. That is the type of palette that this is. So it might have been just the first like touch didn't really give the payoff that it normally would, but it is a nice light green as well, and I haven't really worked on a shade like this with like a bit of a shimmer to it, because I've got quite a bit of greens but not really this type of green very much. So I'm looking forward to wearing that one a little bit more as well. Then this red shade right here is one of the darker shades in the palette as well. It's kind of like a reddish pinkish shade, but it's not like too in your face red at the same time. It's definitely a bit more pigmented than like the green and the peachy shade right here, and I think that that will work quite nicely like either in like fall time as a shade that I can work with, or even during summertime like pairing it with some of the brighter shades in here. I could see that work well with the peachy shade or with the golden shade, so I'm looking forward to playing around with that a bit more. Half pan on that one already, so I am used to using it a little bit already, of course. Then we've got the like golden yellow shade right here, also a really nice lid shade, warmer shade, so also for that one I'm excited to use it. It's a nice subtle like yellow gold, which I think will work nicely alongside the NYX yellow gold pigment, because this one like it's a pigment so it's way more intense, which I won't always feel like a really intense like yellow on my eyelids, so this one will work nicely alongside, because I was afraid that they would be kind of stealing each other's thunder or like usage basically, which I think it won't be too much of a thing. Then actually the coolest shade in here is the blue shade right here. I'm sorry for like the reflection. The blue shade is a bit more on the cool tone side, but because most of these shades are quite warm, I think it's actually going to be fine for me to have a blue shade in here. This was in my Happy Blue Year project last year, so I do have a bit of pan on this one already as well. Also have that in the gold shade, and I have been able to use that quite nicely. It's a bit more of a subdued blue, which I think is good because I have been working on the blue in my Lush palette right here, definitely in an intense blue, but this one I could see work as a lid shade, like kind of more way towards the outer part of my lid, or even a transition type shade, so that's going to be pretty interesting. Then we have the coolest of like the pinks and oranges and those types of things in here is this one. I'm gonna have to see how I'm gonna, probably as a lid shade as well. Most of these are lid shades, but yeah, I think this one, just trying to see what this would work with. I wonder if I put it together with this shade, for example, if it will look a little bit warmer. Maybe I can pair it with the white, maybe even with the blue actually. So yeah, curious to see how I'm gonna work with that one, because I haven't used that one loads either. And one that I'm pretty excited to use a little bit more as well is this shade, which is like a nice warm like pinkish, but it has a bit of a brown tone to it as well, burgundy shades. It's definitely one of the darker shades in here as well, so this will be kind of more towards the outside of my lid quite often as well. And I'm excited to play around with that one. Like, it looks like a really nice shade that is definitely up my alley. So yeah, those are the eyeshadows. And then we have the blush, which, like, looking at it, I thought it was a nice, like, slightly darker tone, but still like peachy-ish blush. But then I swatched it, and as you can see in that swatch, it is very pigmented, and I was not expecting that at all. Now, of course, I'm swatching it with my finger there, which I will not put it on my cheeks like that. When I'm using a brush and just lightly tap it, it will have a completely different effect. but I'm still gonna have to find out what that effect will be and whether it will look nice on my cheeks at all. I'm gonna have to be really careful with it because it's intense. It's definitely also darker than I thought it would be. So I'm very curious to see how that will look on my cheeks, and I will give you guys a review of that in my first update. But yeah, that is it for now. I am looking forward to using this palette. I think there is a lot of things that I can do with this one, but also because there is a lot of shades in here that will work with a lot of different things, a lot of different shades. I'm excited to see like how I can incorporate this with my pen as eyeshadows, and I think it should be really possible to like focus on 1 or 2 shades in my pen as eyeshadows and then mix some of this in as well and just work on multiple things. Whereas last year I feel like because I had very primary colors in that Lush palette, it became somewhat hard for me to incorporate multiple things at once, but because these are mostly a bit more subtle, I think it will be easier to incorporate these with other things that I'm doing. But let's see if that is actually true. Now of course I will keep working on the Lush palette as well, and I still have the blue left in here, but I will give you a proper update on what's going on with that one in my actual first update, because I still need to film the finale for this one. Filming this a little bit earlier because I'm excited about starting something new as well. So yeah, that is it for today. I hope you guys are excited to follow along with this new palette, this new adventure for 2022. Yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope to see you in one of my next videos. Bye bye.